Grand to the rising. What a beautiful day it is the good Lord has made. Let us be glad and rejoice in it. How you feeling? How you feeling? How you doing? Tanya's in here this morning. I see the sun coming in through the windows. She bringing the sunshine all the time. All right, let's go. Let's get it. Feeling good. Feeling great. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. Great. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Let's go ahead and jump over into what it is that we do. Let's get it cracking. I think it's time we jump on in and see what this word is doing for today. What shallest thou beeth for the wordeth? Right. Oh yeah, there we go. Ephesians 4, 3, and 2. Be kind and compassionate to one another. Forgive each other just as Christ forgives you. It's crazy because a lot of times we will get caught up and be mad at somebody because they owe us some money, you know, and turn around and may receive a blessing. You know, somebody might owe you $20 and God will allow $100 bill to flow down your path as you're walking down the street and you pick it up. And instead of saying, saying to that person that owes you, hey, don't worry about it. Instead of holding a grudge, forgive like God has forgiven us, So that's basically it. That's the word of the day. Come back in a little bit longer, a little later, and drop that thing all the way down. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump in and see if we can check out some news or something like that. There we go. News is news and it's newsing. It just looks good. Looks good right here up until about 2:30. Canada is going to drop some red folders, and then the USD is going to drop some red folders at 2:30 p.m. Central. Okay, then coming with some more orange folders at 4 Canada, and then in other news, it's just lemons and limons over here. Lemons and limons. Orange folder for USD in an hour, 26 minutes, and then that's the same thing, another orange folder, an hour and 25 minutes. And just the rest limits. And so my 11 hours away, AUD and Euro. AUD and Euro is going to drop some orange juice on you. Okay? So what's crazy is that caught out two trades yesterday. And looking and seeing that we did not even get a chance to get those trades posted. I don't know. So GBP AUD, we did hit TP on GBP AUD. We had a buy stop there. Boom, boom, boom. We hit that. Then there was a sell stop for Euro CAD. And I don't see that trade being posted. And as you can see, Euro CAD did just drop It was shot up. Let's see what happened here. So this is the hour time frame. So yesterday was the 21st, and if we go to 8 o'clock in the morning on the 21st, today's the 22nd. So it's been doing a lot of consolidating. So here is 8 o'clock yesterday. And as you can see, the market did drop from 8 o'clock yesterday until today. I just don't know why the trade did not get posted, but I do have it here on my chart, but I don't see it even here. So I don't know if anybody, saw the AUD or the EuroCAD trade from yesterday, or took it. So right. Well, that's it. Let's look around and see what we can find for today. Let's see what we can get into. I think I'm gonna do the same thing that I did yesterday. I'm gonna pop system on the chart when I find something I think that looks nice, and then just kind of see how it compares to what we're using. We started at the top, started from the bottom. Now I'm here. All right. Oh, we about to get a notification bell ringing. Don't you ring that bell. Don't you ring that bell. I'll go check out some USD stuff. Looks like you chef is US has been pushing the market up. It's been
Hey, take a look, take a look. Hey, take a look,
right.
Take a look.
So that's a good look. Like to see that sale alert here that we just got. It's good.
Hey, take a look.
So looking at chef here, we've got this uptrend here that's pushing. But at the same time, would like to see the market push down a little bit here, but it's, it's not about what I like. It's about what is real, and it looks like the market has the ability to continue to shoot up. So I think there may be some resistance here to kind of wait and see if that will be something that the market breaks past. It'll be good. Good to see. I'm gonna wait and see if we get a break. If we get a look out here, this gets hit, then we could get ready for this. Right, as soon as that hits, then I'll be looking to jump in. It looks like we're getting a push right now. Getting a push right now. To the strong level. I mean, but there's still like 2 minutes left on this candle, so. So let's just watch that over here.
Attention, 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 attention. Attention.
Got a trap over here on Russell, Rusty Russ. Seeing what happens with that. And I think at 8:30, things will start moving around. We know we have opening bell. Stuff start moving around. You know, this push up here on CAD. And this is, again, US showing some scruff. Right, I'm gonna look around and see what I can find. And while I am doing that, I will try to see if I can find something that we could listen to. Something that sounds better than me. It's been crazy because everybody's been putting out, they're finding a lot of shorts. Everybody's trying to drop all of these shorts.
Hey, take a look. Hey, take a look. Take a look. Hey, take a look.
All right. Yeah, I think this is a good one.
Problem, because the fat that's in the stomach, that's called visceral fat. This is very detrimental fat, and that's the epidemic that we have today. But the only thing that'll make you lose that fat very quickly is
Dr. Pradeep Nadas is a world-leading cardiologist
who has treated more than 250,000 patients with chronic heart disease.
Now, he's using his voice to help millions more prevent ending up on the operating table through simple lifestyle techniques.
this is crucial. Glucose actually is toxic inside the bloodstream, and the body pours insulin into the bloodstream to push glucose out. But frequent consumption of carbs, sugar, processed foods is causing
All right, cool. We'll check this one out.
insulin to stay up, which can lead to insulin resistance. And you're going to be more prone to heart disease, which is the #1 cause of death all over the world right now. But this is where fasting comes in, because after 12 hours, you start pulling the fat out. And the first place the fat comes out of is going to be visceral fat. But with modern living, we have lost this physiology of fasting. So we'll go into that.
And there must be certain things which people aren't aware aren't healthy as it relates to my cardiovascular health.
Yes. So I see that people who overly do aerobic activity, they end up with more coronary artery disease than patients who do short sprints and resistance exercises. Then there's mold, and almost 70% of homes these days have some form of mold toxicity in them. But also, one night of bad sleep, you become insulin resistant the next day. And there's calcium supplements, excessive fruit, white rice.
White rice?
You'll be surprised how much arsenic there's in rice these days.
I watch a lot of true crime. People kill each other with arsenic.
Yes, and it'll slowly kill you. And lastly, this is going to surprise you.
I see messages all the time in the comment section that some of you didn't realize you didn't subscribe. So if you could do me a favor and double check if you're a subscriber to this channel, that would be tremendously appreciated. It's the free thing that anybody that watches this show frequently can do to help us here, to keep everything going in this show in the trajectory it's on. So please do double check if you subscribed. And thank you so much, because in a strange way, you're part of our history and you're on this journey with us. And I appreciate you for that. So yeah, thank you. Dr. Pradeep Nadas, what is it you've spent the entirety of your career, especially the last few decades of your career, focusing on?
Prevention of heart disease, which is the #1 cause of death all over the world right now. You see, the heart is made up of many parts, so this is important. It's a pump, so it's a muscle. So you have diseases of the muscle. And it's rampant these days, cardiomyopathy, weakness of the muscle. Then you have the arteries on top of the heart, and that's called coronary artery disease, diseases of the arteries. They block up. Then you have the valves. The valves tend to get damaged as well. For example, aortic stenosis. And then you have the peripheral circulation, all the blood vessels that go to your carotids, your brain, your legs, and to all the organs of your body. And then you have microvascular disease, which is the tiny capillaries, that they become dysfunctional as well.
What's a capillary?
Capillary is the branch of the branch of the branch.
Okay, so like the tiny little veins.
Final ones, yeah. So when they become dysfunctional, that organ becomes dysfunctional as well. So cardiology affects all these aspects.
And how long have you been operating on people's hearts?
About 35 years now.
And how many hearts do you think you've treated?
In excess of 30,000.
And what's the age range of those patients?
They were used to be mostly older people, over 65. Now, I would say 50% of them are under 65 and 50% are over 65. So the demographics is changing. The younger people are developing heart disease.
So the youngest patient you've ever treated?
28.
And what was the predicament in that case?
He was having a full-blown heart attack. So that means that one of his arteries was completely clogged up. It had a blood clot in it. There was no circulation past that artery. And therefore, he was having acute chest pain, sweating, blood pressure was low. He comes straight to the hospital. I rushed to the hospital, take him straight into the cath lab, and tried to open up that blockage. And we did open up that blockage, and we put a stent in it and got rid of that blockage immediately to restore that blood flow to the heart muscle.
And at 28, how does one get a heart attack? You said it was blocked up.
There's a lot of nuance in that. Most people don't understand what a heart attack is. So in a nutshell, I'm going to tell you what it is. When you have a plaque is a buildup of a little fibrous material inside the artery, and that doesn't cause a heart attack. A heart attack is caused when one of those plaques cracks. Now, in this diagram, for example, it's showing that the plaque is closing up the artery, and this will cause angina. That means a lack of blood supply over here. So this patient may complain of chest discomfort, or he may not complain of chest discomfort. Because remember, when you have a blockage like this, only 20% of the patients actually get chest pain. That means that you could have a blockage like this in a patient, and he may not have any chest discomfort. And the only way you're going to pick that up is by doing a stress test or a coronary calcium score or some other modality to see whether he has blockage or not. A heart attack is when a minor blockage, which is not causing much flow disturbance, suddenly cracks.
And what happens to the plaque that cracks off?
And when it cracks open, the blood that's going past it sees the crack and wants to repair it and forms a blood clot on it. So the final thing that shuts down that artery is the blood clot. It's not the plaque that shuts it off, it's a blood clot. So a heart attack is caused by a blood clot at the site of a rupture. And what causes rupture is inflammation.
Okay, so when people say that heart disease is the #1 killer of people generally that are diseased, is it that process that's causing it alone, or is there a multitude of processes that lead to heart disease?
There's a multitude of things that lead to heart disease. Look.
So that was a heart attack?
That's right.
Okay.
So, one, you're making plaque. You shouldn't be making plaque. A plaque is an inflammatory area inside your arteries. It's reacting to something. And I can go into the nuance of what's the body reacting to? What's inflammation? Inflammation is reacting to something. What is that something? And I think it's important for your audience and everybody to know what that something is. Now, you got this pimple.
All right. You thought plaque was just coming from your teeth, huh? Thought that was all on your grizzle. Well, looks like we can get plaque in them veins and vessels, right? So keep them clean. Get your toothbrush in there.
Hey, take a look.
All right.
Hey,
So
take a look.
what we're going to do right now is we're going to call off a couple of pieces. One of them is going to be this USD chef right here that we have.
Hey,
Going to do a buy
take a
stop
look.
on that. Entry 0.79, 752, 0.79, 752. And then we're going to do a TP for 0.79, 856. 0.79, 856 is what I'm looking at. So need y'all to hold me accountable. Make sure I'm sticking to my guns. Then over here, NZD USD. Buy stop. Buy stop. NZD USD. Got Sandra in the building. Grand Rising Sandra. Looks like Goody's in the building. Grand Rising, good. All right, NZD USD. Let's go in with the buy stop of 0.57455, 0.57455 for the entry, and then the TP is going to be 0.57560. 0.57560. All right. That being said, I think we just got a call. We think y'all saw it on. Just want to double check and make sure. Yeah, got a call on. Here it is again.
Hey,
That is a
take a
buy.
look. Hey, take a look.
There's two of them in there.
Hey, take a look.
So it's crazy. We turned around. We had a sell, and then turned around and just got a buy.
Hey, take a look.
But all the confirmations are looking good for. Let me just line this up. This is on the Russell. So now remember that possibility the market could get really crazy in about 3 minutes. So I'm going to put in a sale for Russell. Oh, I'm sorry. If you can't see that, 2,488.6 was our entry for the Russell, and we're coming up on it now. And our TP is going to be 2,486. 2,486.44 TP on the Russell. Not in yet, but keep your eyes on it. We got 1 minute left. 1 minute left. 1 minute left. This thing may take off and might be now. It's coming up. I don't see any time on the chart. Oh, we got 50 something minutes. 53, 51 seconds. We just bust through a trampoline on the Russell with this move here. Coming up on could be an entry really close to U-Chef as well.
Think of it as a pimple on the inside of the artery. Now, one day, when there's enough inflammation in your body systemically, that pimple is going to crack open, just like a pimple on the skin breaks open. Now that artery has this little pimple on the inside, and it cracks open and a blood clot forms on it, and that's a heart attack. So you don't want plaque formation, you don't want plaque instability, which is rupture of that plaque, and you don't want a blood clot to form on it. There are factors that affect each of these processes, and all three processes are going wrong today. And that's why we have so much plaque formation and instability of the plaque, which then leads, of course, to heart attacks. And our blood in general, we have more coagulation issues today than we ever did before, which means our blood, because of inflammation, is more ready to clot more easily. So we're having the perfect triad. It's the perfect storm That's why we're seeing an epidemic of this, and that's why we're not making a dent in it. Yes, you can have a plaque rupture and have a heart attack, and we put a stent in you. Okay, that's fine. But what did we do to look at the underlying reason as to why you formed that plaque, and why did you rupture it, and why was your blood so clotty in the first place that made you actually seal off the artery?
Is this an increasing problem?
Yes, it's a huge problem because those factors have been identified now. And that's what we go for in my practice. We look for the factors. Why did you make this plaque? Why is there so much inflammation in your body? Inflammation is a reaction to something foreign. What is that foreign stuff? What is that abnormal physiology in you that your body is reacting against? Because that's what inflammation is.
Attention.
Inflammation, of course, whenever there's going to be inflammation, there's going to be increased tendency to make blood clots. So we go in, we chase all these things in patients to find out. And that's the real prevention.
That 28-year-old that came in and you treated him, was that a surgery you did?
We call it a surgery, but it's not. It's a angioplasty. So we go in from the wrist, or we go in from the groin with a catheter. And we go into the coronary artery.
A catheter being like a tube?
It's a hollow tube. And we put it into the coronary artery. We shoot the dye inside. We can see where the blockage is. And then we thread a tiny wire into that artery through the blockage, and then bring in a balloon and squash the blood clot out of the way, restore the circulation, and then bring in a stent. A stent is like a spring that opens the artery up. We leave the stent inside there. We remove everything else, and now you have an open artery, and you have blood flow going down that artery.
And what had that 28-year-old done to end up in your surgery? What were the decisions that they had made that brought them there?
So he was, number one, he was overweight. But he wasn't just overweight. The overweight was all in his belly. And he had a fatty liver. And he had what is known as visceral fat. He was not a diabetic, but he was a pre-diabetic. That means he had a lot of insulin in his body, and his glucose levels were good. So if you went to his family doctor, they'd say, oh, you're not a diabetic. Your hemoglobin A1C, which is a blood test that you do for diabetes, is actually okay. But actually that patient had a very high insulin blood level. Now, insulin is a very atherogenic molecule. It causes smooth muscle proliferation. Smooth muscle is in the walls of the arteries. It causes vasoconstriction. It makes your blood more clotty, and it causes inflammation. So this patient was a pre-diabetic. And this is very important. This is what caught my attention, because when I looked at my patients that were coming in with heart attacks and hardening of the arteries, and when I tried to identify why they're doing this, none of them were diabetics. But then I did a glucose tolerance test on them. And what happened, it was just by chance that I happened to have these tests in my office where you can measure the blood glucose. So I had about 120 of them. So I said, look, let's just do some random testing on these patients. And I found that at least half of them had no diabetes, but their glucose intolerance. That means that the sugars went up, but not enough to make them a diabetic, but it did go above the normal range. We did not have insulin testing at that time. About 10 years later, we started testing insulin in the office, and I bought a machine for this purpose in my office to measure insulin levels. And life was never the same again.
Why?
Because it's all about insulin when it comes to the metabolic derangement. So I found that these patients, the sugars were going up to 150, 160 after giving them a glucose drink.
Mm-hmm.
So you say, okay, he's not a diabetic. Look, the sugar didn't really go high. But when you measured the insulin level, the insulin was off the roof.
So when you say this is an insulin problem, can you explain this to me like I have no idea what glucose and insulin are? For any of my listeners out there that have a inexperienced understanding of these terms and what they do mean.
It's crucial. Everybody needs to understand the relationship between sugar, which is glucose, and insulin. When you consume sugar or glucose, the body has to get rid of that glucose very quickly from the bloodstream, because glucose actually is toxic inside the bloodstream. Even though it is what the body uses for energy, in the bloodstream, it glycates all the blood vessels and the walls and the components in blood and the hemoglobin as well, glycates it. That means the glucose attaches itself to that molecule. So now that molecule can't work properly. That is why the higher your blood glucose, all your chemicals don't work well. Your enzymes don't work well. Your hormones don't work well. Nothing works well, and you age prematurely because you're getting glycation. A glycated molecule can't work normally. It doesn't function normally. So when you consume the glucose has to come out of the bloodstream. And how does the body do it? It sends a message to the pancreas. The pancreas says, aha, I'll make some insulin. It pours insulin into the bloodstream. Insulin comes into the bloodstream, pushes the glucose into the cells. And where does it push it in? Into the liver, into the muscles, into every cell in the body. Insulin will push glucose out. Now, how much insulin is the question? If I'm eating every 3 hours and I'm consuming glucose or I'm consuming starchy foods or I'm consuming carbohydrates, now watch where I'm going with this because you're already beginning to know where I'm going with this. I'm consuming glucose and carbs every 2-3 hours. I'm stimulating my pancreas. I'm stimulating my insulin. My insulin goes up, it comes down. But before it even gets a chance to come down, it goes up again. So the repeated consumption of and frequent consumption of glucose is causing my insulin to stay high because insulin stays a little bit longer in the bloodstream than the glucose. The glucose will come down in about 2 to 3 hours, but the insulin stays higher for about 4 hours. Now what happens is that you continue this lifestyle for a few years. Now the body, because these are all hormones, will say, well, you know, I'm going to need to make more insulin now. You become insulin resistant. Any hormone that stays in your body for a long time, the body becomes immune to it. So the next time I eat the sugar, I'm going to have to make more insulin to produce the same effect. That is called insulin resistance. So now you got this patient who's been eating carbs, sugar, processed foods. What does that mean, processed foods? That means foods that are quickly absorbed into the bloodstream.
Hey, take a look.
Processed foods.
Hey, take a look. Take a look.
Without fiber.
Hey, take a look.
So the absorption is very quick. So the poor pancreas has to react just like that. Produces a whole bunch of insulin. And then the frequent eating and the frequent consumption makes you insulin resistant. So now you produce a whole bunch of insulin in order to bring that sugar level down. So then you say, okay, well, it doesn't matter because the insulin is bringing the sugar level down. So what's the harm done? Because your A1C is still good, you're not diabetic. No, but it's that background high insulin that is destroying your metabolism. It's that high insulin level in the background. So insulin pushes glucose into the liver and you develop a fatty liver. It pushes the calories into production of new fats around your viscera. The viscera means in your belly, around your pancreas. You get visceral fat. Now, this fat is produced from glucose. It's a different kind of fat. Look, if I gave you a high-calorie diet right now of all sorts of foods, you put on weight everywhere, okay? But if I give you glucose, you put it on mostly in your stomach, and your stomach will protrude. And that's called visceral fat. It's on the inside. You can't pinch it. It's on the inside.
Around your organs.
This is very detrimental fat, and that's the epidemic that we have today.
And that's a direct result of eating, starchy, glucose, carbohydrates, which creates insulin, which creates this downstream effect on...
Wrong foods and eating too frequently.
Too frequently, okay.
Because remember, it's also the frequency of eating. Because before that insulin gets a chance to come down, you're already popping yourself with more food. And hence you develop insulin resistance. You get a very high insulin. It takes this much insulin now just to bring that sugar level down. And then the one day when you cannot control that sugar, now that sugar will go out and now your doctor will say you're a diabetic. But by that time, you've already had 10 years of hyperinsulinemia. So what happens if by the time you make a diagnosis of diabetes to say, well, now your sugar is really high. It is high because your body has not had the ability to keep it down. Why? Because even that high insulin could not keep your sugar level down. You became a diabetic. You lost that whole opportunity of prevention. It's those 10 years. Look, by the time you're a diabetic and you come and see Dr. J in his cardiac clinic, you already have coronary artery disease. Like that 28-year-old. That 28-year-old didn't have diabetes. He already has coronary artery disease. By the time you are diagnosed as having diabetes, you already have coronary artery disease. We have a great opportunity here to actually start screening these patients with insulin levels very early on. But most doctors don't have the ability or knowledge to do the insulin level testing. But it should be done.
In someone like me, I'm 33 years old now. When does the damage begin?
It starts right now. It starts right now. As soon as you're around 30, you're already starting to have trouble. You have to. But you know, this is what I do. I look at that patient walking into my room, and if I see that he's got a belly sticking out, I already know he's probably got insulin resistance because all the fat is in here. Because the fat that's in the stomach, sideways, he looks terrible. From the back, he looks great. His waist is increased. He doesn't have all the fat everywhere else in his body. That's the phenotype of somebody who has hyperinsulinemia. That same person goes on a cruise, he'll come back 5 to 10 pounds more because he's got so much insulin in his body. Insulin is a storage molecule, puts everything away. And it's very hard for him to lose weight.
Why is it harder?
The only thing that will make you lose that fat very quickly is to change your diet, of course, but you have to do fasting. Because fasting brings your insulin level. See, this is where fasting comes in. So what does fasting do?
Do you mean fasting or a calorie deficit? Or is it the same thing in your view?
No, they're not the same thing. They are not the same thing. You see, when you don't eat, your insulin levels come down because you're not stimulating your pancreas anymore. So you want to bring your insulin levels down. The best thing you can do in the world is to do fasting. Because there's no, look, if I just simply cut down on my calories,
Take a look.
then there's a different physiology that's going to take place in the body. And when you fast, there's a totally different physiology. When you cut down on calories, the body senses that there's caloric deficit. Your metabolic rate changes, actually slows down. And the body will start breaking down everything, muscles included. So you lose fat and you also lose muscles. On the other hand, when you're fasting, it's a different physiology. Fasting is, I've put on fat, now I'm going to take it out of the bank. Now the bank is going to be available for me to pull out my calories and use it now. And you start burning the fat. So in the first 12 hours of a fast, you take out all the glucose in the form of glycogen from your muscles and your liver. After 12 hours, you start pulling the fat out. And the first place the fat comes out of is going to be visceral fat. That is why fasting benefits you so much, because it gets rid of that worst fat, the fat that is very inflammatory. You see, if I did a biopsy of your visceral fat versus a biopsy of, let's say, a fat from on your buttock, two different types of fat. One is full of inflammatory molecules. The other one is not full of inflammatory molecules. One is producing interleukin-6 and tumor necrosis factor, and this other fat is not. These are two different fat storages. Visceral fat is very toxic. It's very inflammatory. And that is why patients who have visceral fat make all these molecules. So when I do the blood test, I see that, oh, you've got so much inflammation. You've got interleukin-6 is high, tumor necrosis factor is high, your CRP is running high. And one of the reasons for this is not just leaky gut and other things that I look at, but in your case, it is also because you have a lot of ectopic fat. Ectopic fat. Ectopic fat is, now we're realizing, is not just only around the liver and around your pancreas, it's also around your heart. So when we look at the coronary arteries and we see all those fat around the coronary arteries, you had a very nice diagram right there. And you can see that around each artery, there's that yellowness. That yellow is all plaque. Fat. There's fat around that, and it's plaque forming.
Take a look. Take a look.
It stimulates.
Take a look. Take a look.
And now we can do CT scans that will actually detect how much inflammation is in the fat around the arteries as well. Ectopic fat is in the around the coronary arteries. It's in your liver and in your pancreas. and it is very inflammatory.
On this point of fasting, so if you have someone come to you and they have that physique where there's a bit more of that protruding belly fat, you said that fasting is a much better approach than just sort of a calorie restriction. I was looking at some studies that said research shows that calorie deficits of any kind can reduce visceral fat, but fasting will give it an edge because of the insulin sensitivity stuff that you talked about as well. What kind of fast should one be doing? Because there's so many different names for these fasts. People do these 40-day water fasts and they do intermittent fasting.
It's a great question. So there are many, many different types of fasting. Depending on your goal, on what do you want for that particular patient. So if a patient is just simply looking to reduce his visceral fat, then I start with 12-12, which means 12 hours, you don't eat anything, you just drink liquids with no calories in it, and then 12 hours is your feeding period. We start with that. And we do that for about 2 to 3 weeks. Then we quickly move to 18-6. 18-6 means 6 hours you get to eat. 18 hours, it's only water, black tea, black coffee, green tea, no calories. 18-6. 18-6. And then that's one type of fasting. Now, if a patient is very overweight, a patient has diabetes and your goal is to reverse the diabetes, the patient needs to lose 60 pounds, then those patients have a special type of need.
Hey,
for them,
take a look.
I will take them to
take a look. Take a look.
48-hour fast.
Take a look.
Once a week.
Hey,
sometimes
take a look.
I'll go to a 3-day water fast every 9 days. Every 9 days, you will do OMAD. OMAD means 1 meal a day only, every day for 9 days.
Take a look.
And then you're going to give me a 3-day water fast.
Is the same advice applicable to women? Because obviously they're contending with a variety of hormone fluctuations and estrogen, and I know that the female body responds differently to these kinds of stresses like fasts.
I've been asked that question so many times from patients as well. Most of the women can actually handle it. The only women that cannot are those who are trying to become pregnant or they have or they're already pregnant. I think that women are not that different when it comes to the fasting programs. So in my experience, I've been able to get women to fast. I just finished a fast on one lady just now for 72 days. 72 days. She was terribly overweight. She had diabetes. She had hypertension. She had hyperlipidemia. She was having hip replacements, knee replacements, joint problems. She had skin problems. And we fasted her for 72 days.
What did she have in those 72 days in terms of drinks, electrolytes, coffee? What was she?
Great question. So she would have black tea, black coffee, water. And in the water, once a day, I tell her to put some electrolytes in there. So there's an electrolyte called LMNT, or sometimes I just tell them to go buy some Celtic salt and put half a teaspoon in there, and once a day you take that. If you get cravings and you feel really, really hungry, take some MCT oil, a teaspoon, and put it in your water, and you can drink that as well.
I think it's worth saying that probably you shouldn't try this at home, ladies and gentlemen, because obviously medical supervision is critical here. But in the case of that lady, what was the before and after of that 72-day fast?
So diabetes, gone. Blood pressure, normalized. Weight loss, tremendous weight loss. I mean, I think she lost about 55 or 60 pounds.
Wow.
Okay. And not only did she lose all that weight, yes, all that weight from her belly was gone, but even her face, under the arms. So when you lose weight in a fasting program, it's very different from losing weight when you are restricting calories. You actually retract your skin, so you get real changes in your entire body. These patients, I had one patient that fasted for 183 days under supervision. Okay, so he went from 400 pounds to 210 pounds. And when he walked into the office, you would not recognize that he's just lost all this weight because he did not look like skin on top of bones and then having to have surgery to remove all that excess skin. Fasting is a totally different physiology. In fasting, the body is doing a whole lot of things that are very different. And we can go into the physiology of fasting because that's fascinating. It's a physiology that has not been used by us. We've lost it. So one of the things about modern living, we have lost this physiology of fasting. First of all, why do we still have that physiology in us? It's because it's supposed to serve a purpose. Because we're supposed to be fasting and feasting. But now we're only feasting all the time, and we're not fasting. In order to go back to normal, you should be fasting. Fasting is supposed to be a normal part of your existence. That's the way you were designed. Not this modern industrialized living that we've been doing in the last fraction of a millisecond in the total existence of the human race.
Take a look. Hey,
We've changed our lifestyle so much, modern man has, but our genetics and our physiology has lagged behind. We were supposed to use fasting and feasting as part of our normal program, as our normal physiology. That's why we still have it. That is why after 12 hours, you start making some more ketones in your body. And the ketones come from fat. You're moving that fat out of storage.
What is a ketone?
Ketones. So ketones are an energy molecule produced by the liver. How does it make it? It makes it from fat. So the fat gets liberalized, and by the way, the fats only start moving when your insulin levels are down. So because of fasting, your insulin levels are really low now, okay? Because you've been fasting, right? So now the fats start dissolving. So you get free fatty acids. The free fatty acids float into the bloodstream. Free fatty acids are fat products. They float into the bloodstream. They go to your liver. Your liver converts those into ketones. Now, ketones are an energy source of the body, an alternative source to glucose. So in general terms, you are either going to be running on glucose and glucose metabolism, or you're running on ketones, okay?
And so ketones basically show up when glucose isn't around.
That's absolutely right. So ketones are actually a cleaner fuel for the body. And in terms of producing reactive oxygen species in the metabolism, the way your mitochondria work, you actually produce less reactive oxygen species, which is damaging to your physiology when you're in ketones. And ketones are signaling molecules that also change your physiology in a number of ways. Number one, it causes the production of brain-derived neurotropic factor that occurs under ketogenesis. Brain-derived neurotropic factor, which means that you become smarter, you're growing new cells, your reflexes are better, your visual acuity is better. Why? Because nature wants you to become a better specimen so you can go out and get your next kill.
So why don't we all just stay in a state of ketosis then, if it's so miraculous?
Well, that's a great question. You don't want to be in ketosis all the time, because that's not what ketosis, what our physiology was made for. Because then you'll just be burning fats all the time. And that's not a good state to be in constantly either. So you want to be able to do both. You're supposed to get your current account and your deposit account. You're supposed to work with.
I know this is good. It's good. It's good. It's good. I don't know if you was enjoying it, but I am enjoying it. Good stuff. But got to keep moving. We have the word. We've got the word. So let's get that word in. All right. Ephesians 4:32 NIV. Be kind and compassionate to one another. Forgive each other just as Christ forgave you. So made a sample or statement, or kind of gave a little story early, and it was kind of something like, just imagine you have, a notebook where you keep track of all your money, people when you loan people money, right? And then you got a good friend that comes and borrows $5, and you turn around and write this down, and your friend, says they did not, come back and pay you because they lost the money, and you like, man, that's messed up, right? But then your parents turn around and reach out and call you and say, hey, that $1,000 that you accidentally made a mistake and used our card and spent that $1,000. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about that. We know things are kind of tight. We forgive. It's cool. We already took care of it. It's like, what? Yeah, you good. So they aren't holding that against you. They totally erase it. They forgot about it, and you feel light. You feel better. Okay. Now, how would you feel about your friends that? Would you still be trying to hold that against them? Or would you be like, that's nothing. Don't worry about it. But you go off ripping and running, and you mad at them still when you should be actually ripping that page out that notebook with their name on it and then forgiving them and then call them and tell them, hey, don't worry about that $5. You good. Don't worry about that. So this verse is telling us that God is doing the exact same thing for us, or did the exact same thing for us with our sins. He paid this 100 million trillion dollar debt, right? Like a million trillion, a trillion is crazy enough, but just imagine a million trillion dollar debt that we had that we never could pay back. But Christ came and died for our sins, and he erased all that. Why? Why did he do this? Doesn't even, matter, but he did it for us. He died for our sins so that we could be close to his Father. And that's why Jesus did this for us. So God is asking us to do the same to others when they are wronging us or owing us. So forgive them. Let it go. Don't let that grudge come between you and family, you and friends, right? Learn to forgive. So let us pray. Father, thank you for forgiving us for our sins. Forgive us for the wrong things that we've done. Just praying that you allow us to show your appreciation for the great gift that you've given. Please fill our hearts with kindness and compassion today. When someone hurts us or
Hey, take a look.
us,
Hey, take a
Lord,
look.
let us
Hey,
find it in our heart
take
to
a
forgive them.
look.
In your holy name, we pray. Amen.
Hey, take a look.
So we got a couple of
With
minutes
both
left.
of
I'm
them,
gonna play
that's
this and then we'll
normal
get out your way.
physiology.
All right. Y'all
So
can enjoy
not only
the rest of
brain-derived
y'all day.
neurotrophic factor
Right?
increases, but also stem cells. Stem cells are amazing. And in my patients, of course, I see that.
What is a stem cell?
Stem cells. So stem cells are, we all have stem cells. And we all still make stem cells. And they're produced by the bone marrow. These are pluripotent cells. Cells made that will then go out and become whatever they need to become. So they can go out into your circulation, become a muscle cell, they can become a retinal cell, a skin cell, they can transform into anything. So what happens is when you break your fast, you get a surge of stem cells coming out of your bone marrow. Some of them become immunocytes. That is why we know that fasting also boosts your immunity. People who fast get less infections, get less sore throats and coughs and colds and the viruses that are going around. The immunity is better. The stem cells are not, I'm particularly interested in the stem cells because of a thing called the progenitor cells, endothelial progenitor cells. Progenitor cells are, you see, you're always hurting your blood vessels, the lining of the blood vessels, and the lining of your blood vessels have to be constantly repaired, and they are repaired by the progenitor cells. When you do intermittent fasting and time-restricted feeding, you will produce more, and this has been shown in numerous studies, more progenitor cells. And these progenitor cells go and repair your blood vessels. So I do why am I interested in this? Because I'm a vascular doctor. I want my blood vessels to constantly be repairing themselves from the damage that we do in day-to-day life. So stem cell mobilization, brain-derived neurotropic factor, growth hormone. You make more growth hormone in fasting. So when should you exercise when you're fasting? At the peak of your fast. So if I'm going to break my fast at 6 p.m., I tell patients to go out to the gym at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But
All right. It's about time for us to get out of here. If you'd like for me to share this link, let me know. I'll share this link with you if you want to finish listening to this or even watching it. Share that with you. Well, we got one entry and one TP. Got a TP on the big boy. The Russell came through for us, which was cool, right? Can't complain. All right. So here we are, top of the hour. We are out of here. Thank y'all very much, very much, very much.
Take a look. Hey, take a look.
Here we go. Got you, Tanya. Dropping that link on you right there. There we go. All right. Y'all take care. Thank y'all for stopping by.
Hey,
I'll shoot some
take a look.
hearts out to you. Keep your eyes on the news. Watch this government. Things are happening and changing, especially with healthcare. I think EBT, or even if you know people that are like even rent assistance, they're talking about even getting rid of that. So people and loved ones that are in the hospital right now, which I do have loved ones that are in the hospital, or even those people that have underlying health conditions. Keep your eyes out for letters from your insurance company, if it's Medicaid or Medicare. Look out for those because they are going to be sending some letters out that you need to pay attention to. If you don't understand them, you need to get with somebody that can break it down for you to make sure that you let them know that you want to keep your insurance. There's going to be some trickiness coming down the pipeline. And those that do not fill out this form or, reach out to them, they will be losing their health care. Right? Hey, y'all, take care. God bless.